All right, here we are, and I think a lot of you have joined in as well. So, a very, very warm welcome, the ones specifically who are staying in cold areas. Good evening to each and every one of you. Thank you so much for making out the time to join us today with Edumilestones organized webinar on how to become a career counselor in 3 weeks. And we are truly glad to have all of you here, and we genuinely hope and pray that all of you are doing safe and your family members are also doing safe. We are looking forward to this webinar. Radha and I both are absolutely excited through the course of this session, and there's a lot of takeaways that we have decided for you, and we genuinely hope that the session today is not just informative, but it is also insightful for you, and at the same time there is you leave the session with some level of clarity. That is what we have in our mind for you today. And of course there's a lot to learn as well, which we have Miss Radha also with us, so I'm sure she's also equally excited to start the training session today. So yeah, welcome to the knowledge webinar once again. Yes, so about me, my name is Fatima. Today I will be your host as well as your presenter for our knowledge webinar series. The whole objective for the webinar today, for those who might know or for those who might be a little confused or don't know, I'll just clear that out for everyone so we all know why are we here. All right. We're all here to learn something in career counseling. We're not here to learn, we're not just limiting this session to helping you understand what is career counseling, because considering someone like you who's already aspiring to become a career counselor, we understand that you know career counseling, but of course we will help you understand more about what is career counseling, but we'll specifically focus on what happens in career counseling. All right, so for that we have Ms. Radha, who will be helping us go through understand what happens in counseling. All right, but so yeah, I'll be your host today. My name is Fatima. I am also a psychologist, and I have been with Edumilestones for over 9.5 years now. And earlier I started with research and development, and then I moved into training career counselors, and now I have moved on to business and management profiles, where I take care of strategic alliances, and I'm also responsible for ensuring that the knowledge that we have is not just limited to giving it out to those in India, but also taking this out to more counselors, more professionals who are looking to become career counselors outside India as well. So we'll talk about that also in a while. So yeah, next slide, please. There are some very quick reminders. I believe that maximum of you are in the room right now, and you are able to see me, you are able to hear me, as well as you are able to see the slide right in front of you. However, there is a chat box which you can use to communicate with us. There is a chat in case you're facing any issue, and there is a specific Q&A tab also. If there are questions for any one of the speakers, you can put those questions. We have with us Mr. Azim as well in the backend, and also Mr. Abhishek in the backend, who will be helping us through the webinar in the backside. So they will be helping us to ensure that the entire thing is very streamlined. So we will have a dedicated Q&A session. So we'll ensure that your questions, your doubts are clarified within the session itself by Ms. Radha herself. And you can just double click on the screen and that goes full screen. So if you can do that, you'll have a better visual. And there are two very important and special announcements for all of you who are attending the webinar today. So stay tuned for that. Next slide, please. Okay. Because this entire webinar has been hosted and organized by Edumilestones, we feel it will be a little important for you also to understand who is Edumilestones and what is Edumilestones and what our journey has been. So you can see we started our journey from 2008. And as we keep moving forward as a company, we have also been very ambitious about evolving, and we have also been very ambitious about reaching newer milestones almost every year. So you will also be able to understand the kind of roadmap that we have been able to chalk out for ourselves, how we have evolved organically in the psychometric segment, or in the training segment, or in the segment related to international studies. And that's how we have evolved as a company in the last 11 years almost now. So you'll be able to see the program that we're talking about today. So a lot of the insights today will actually be drawn from our CCA program, what we actually cover as a part of our Certified Career Analyst program. Ms. Radha will be taking concepts from there and will be helping you understand those concepts here today in this webinar, in our today's knowledge webinar. Next slide, please. Now, this is one of our very recent milestone, and I should also call it as an achievement, when the government of Rajasthan, specifically in Bikaner, had approached us to do something for not just the school students, but also for the school teachers. So this is a pilot that we did with them last year, because they had a very fantastic concept. And we thought we'll definitely run a pilot with them. And since that went on very successful, so this year we will actually be going live with that pilot to all 800 plus schools that are there in Bikaner, including the students there, including the teachers there. And we'll have close to 200 plus of our own certified career counselors supporting us through this particular project, and they will be helping us to make this project more successful, and they'll be very crucial at the execution level for us. So there's a letter also that was given to us from the state ministry, and there's some snippets when we did the pilot. We had done that pilot completely live online, so that had gone very, very well, and there was a lot of buzz that was around there, where a lot of teachers took a lot of proactive initiations to ensure that none of the students are missing the webinar and the knowledge that was going to be imparted then. So yeah, we're looking forward to going this full-fledged this year with the support of our counselors as well. So yeah, next slide, please. So as I was telling you that the program, the services, the solutions that we offer here at Edumilestones are not just limited to counselors here in India. But when we started our expansion outside India, we spoke to a lot of counselors, psychologists, a lot of people from the management training industry. And we realized that career counseling is actually a global issue. And we realized that while students still continue to face confusion and diffusion when coming to choosing a certain career, we also felt that there is an equal amount of dearth in the supply as well, where there are not enough professionally trained career counselors. So that's when we took the CCA program to countries outside India as well. So you'll be able to see countries where our program has been flourishing, and we have professionals from there who are now professionally trained and certified by Edumilestones. So you have it in Canada, UK, Spain, Egypt, even countries like Nigeria, Ghana, Zimbabwe, Zambia. Then you have countries like South Africa, Australia, Sri Lanka, Philippines, Hong Kong, Nepal, Bangladesh. We've been able to set up prints in almost 24 countries now, and we only expect and hope to reach out to more counselors within the same country, and also continue to expand to more countries as well. So thank you so much for being with us until now. Next slide, please. Without any further ado, I want to hand over the session now to Ms. Radha. And I'm sure she's also pretty excited to engage and interact with a lot of you. And she's someone that I know is always there out to share her knowledge and ensure that the person who's there makes sure that has understood the concept very well. So Radha at Edumilestones is responsible for heading our training division. So the CCA program that I was talking to you about, she's the one who's the torchbearer, and she spearheads this from the training content and the delivery level. So yes, over to you, Radha.
Thank you, Fatima. That was a fantastic introduction. In fact, yes. Your introduction has also charged my excitement more. Thank you for that. Yes. I hope, I'm super excited to see about a population of about more than 365 people in the session now. So it's actually a very proud moment and very respectful we are feeling to have you all here. And yes, we will definitely make this forum a meaningful one, right? We'll do the best, right? Thank you so much. And as introduced by Fatima, my colleague, so I am heading the training and development department. I train people on the career counseling practices. So there is a certified career analyst program, and a small concept about what I cover in the program is going to be my agenda for the forum, right? Next slide, please. Yes. So the career counseling practice, right, or a planning process, it can be for a school student, it can be for a graduate, it could be for a working professional. So we need to provide a solution where there is a huge spectrum of target audience that we are ahead to face, right? So they start from the year of age of 6 years till working professionals. You might be wondering, what are we doing for the, the age group between 6 years onwards? So the 6 years to 12 years is one critical segment where we provide their career guidance on their ancillary areas with reference to the multiple intelligence level. We have a different assessment for them. And when it is coming for career planning as a process, we begin that from the high school level, which in India is actually between 8, 9, and 10 grades. Why I say in India? India has 3 boards, which includes state board, central board, and ICSE. So all these boards, the high school level completes by their grade 10. So sometimes in ICSE also, we find that students begin their elective in 9 and 10 itself. So like in state and central boards, we find they start their elective at 11 and 12. That is, choosing their elective subjects. So we found that the career planning can be a good solution for children from the age category of 14 years onwards. So are largely from grade 8 onwards, right? And when it comes for international school education system, we find that the high school level is between grade 7, 8, 9. And the higher secondary education would be 10, 11, and 12. So which they call it as a pre-university exam, correct? So in India also, we find that other than the higher secondary, there are certain pre-university exam patterns, right? So we find that, these people are always in a plight that, what can be my career option? Which could be my subject choices. So they're always in an ambiguity. And in fact, if you could find at least about 2 years before, people were making, the subject elective choices or the higher education plans based on the marks they've scored. But now that post-COVID, the examination system has completely turned around. So they are not able to make their judgment based on the skills and abilities alone. In fact, there are also other proven research facts that people who have gone by skills and abilities, they made the decision by taking a career choice. After at least about 3, 4, 5 years, their self-esteem is not met. They are not able to actualize what they are actually aspiring, which was unheard or even not discovered by themselves. So therefore, we understood that psychometric concepts play a vital role in making a career choice, because we all can agree if one statement is there. Emotions drive people while people drive performance. So we give a lot of value for the emotional areas. Of course, we find a collective employability in even a student who's stepping out from a school level to choose his own education, which is at a higher education. The core competencies and the distinctive competencies, which are actually acquired during their graduation, requires an important roadmap. Otherwise, we find many people are actually, getting a misalignment in the career. So as a first step in the career guidance, so what we do is, let it be a school student or a graduate or a working professional, we understand about them by a psychometric assessment, which includes a 5-dimensional assessment model. We also include personality as a dimension from which we understand their nature. What are their behavioral traits at workplace? Second is about the career interest. Now, the career interest is actually going to help us understand what kind of work nature makes a person enjoy the more, so that they are able to look for what are the skills and abilities associated to their interest, which can actually, make them employable at a higher level of work profile too. right? So the career interest is actually about understanding the enjoyment or what they are actually going to be happy at work. We also find that many people are actually, facing losing jobs, or they are voluntarily leaving the jobs. What could be the reasons? By and large, we find that people who belong to Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z, who are from the generations or the year between 1960s, 70s, 80s, by and large consider only a good job should constitute a good salary or a job designation or even a job security. Now, the situation is turned around, as I mentioned before. Now, people have started to find out and look for additional values which can actually motivate them to stay for a longer stint. So, we also identify the career values of an individual, along with which the learning is something which is a continuous process. We understand that and what kind of learning style do they actually possess and what can actually enhance their learning to cross through their learning curve in a very quicker manner. Right? So these four are the psychometric factors, what we actually, assess. Now, how do we assess this? Now, these questions are based on certain proven theories which have been evolving from 19th century. Of course, we have already crossed 2 decades in 21st century. Of course, there is a good amount of validation required. So an optimization is actually done along with the skills and abilities after the assessment is taken. So the tech platform, what we hold, will process the assessment online and deliver the recommendations. Now, delivering these recommendations would be, of different, suitability levels. It might be highly suitable. It might be moderately suitable. It can be also projecting the adaptability of an individual. Now, for this, we need to explore those recommendations to the huge spectrum of spectrum of career clusters, right? What do I mean by career clusters? Industry currently has around 20 career clusters. People with identical psychometric factors, which are actually innate in them, project that they are suitable for certain work natures in specific fields. What are these fields or clusters? Now you can find business management is a field, science, maths, engineering is a field, information technology is a field, logistics and transportation is a field, public safety and security is a field, sports is a field, education is a field, arts is a field. So this way we have around 20 career fields where you can find these are referred as clusters, which actually have some commonality between these psychometric factors in order to deliver the work nature connected to the particular field. And under these 20 clusters, we can find there are more than 3,000 occupations, 12,000 job profiles. Always, people would be actually wondering, where am I going to be suitable? Yes, I'd like to do a program in computer science or information and technology. But they always wonder, what kind of job profile should I be choosing? Will I be suitable as a programmer and a developer or an ethical hacker or robotics and process automation? Or am I going to be into ethical hacking? So there are multiple job profiles and occupations involved, correct? So these are all connected with the respective education of study. So who can be at which kind of career, where their work nature is compatible to their own nature, we create a self-awareness through this assessment and thereby give them the recommendations. Not only that, we also give them an idea about an exact execution plan, which can tell them what shall be their education roadmap. So we actually split these education roadmap at 3 levels of competency development. One is connected with the foundational competency, the elective subject taken in their higher secondary level of education. Second is about the core competency. What kind of graduation programs are available for a person to expertise in that area? So what are the other distinctive competencies which can make them highly employable for tactical or strategic level of roles also? So we identify these and we also give them an education roadmap for the career which is going to be chosen. But the students and the candidates always have an ambiguity, having multiple choices. Amongst the 3,000 occupation, it's a very big picture. So they always need to be handheld in making their career choice. Nobody can actually make their own career choice, but they cannot experience that and come back, correct? There'll be a lot of waste of time. For that, what is actually recommended is a career counseling session is highly important. Now, for a career counselor to sit with this 3,000 occupations or 12,000 profile is actually, a lengthy process. How can you actually conserve your time and deliver a counseling between 2 to 3 hours? That means this assessment, which is actually taken as a pre-counseling activity, conserves your time, and you will be able to analyze and deliver counseling from the shortlisted recommendations. The shortlisted recommendations can be 10, 20, 30, or amongst the 150, 60 plus career paths, right? So now there are many new age career paths also coming. What can be the educational journey, where those can be actually, identified to be, pursuing on their higher education. All these are the areas where always it has been, a gray area for the students, particularly the students generation. And we also find many people make a random choice just because, my neighbor or my first cousin or my own brother or my parents insisted. So this way, people are making different career choices. And having landed there and started their educational journey at a graduate level or a postgraduate level, we as a career guide shall empathize what is their problem, and we need to be telling them not to stop at their education and take a redirection. Rather, we will have to check out where they can go and adapt. The counseling exercise is a highly important and a responsible position, right? So when you are guiding a lifetime solution for a particular individual, we have to check about from the assessment and the recommendations which can be highly suitable to them basis their ideal conditions. So the first step of career counseling, what we are going to be providing is the psychometric assessment. And further, an intensive analysis followed by, you will be able to make even a child who is 13, 14 years old to choose his or her own favorite career path. Having chosen, you will also provide them through this model what are all the educational opportunities available for them to pursue a particular career. So you look at a destination where they are going to be landing in their career and give them an education roadmap, which is highly important need of the hour. So this is the psychometric and also, a career guidance methodology, what we are actually recommending. And next slide, please. Yes. So if you see, to provide any career guidance, we find that many of them are using psychometric factor, which is only personality and skill and abilities. Generally, the largely used psychometric theories from different schools of thought. The former school of thought began in 1859 by a famous psychologist, Carl Jung, right? So this Carl Jung, he actually in the 19th century, according to the career opportunities at that time, he derived about 8 types of personality traits. And after which we all know, during 20th century, early 20th century, there was a great industrial revolution across the world, which turned out an important opportunity for many school of thoughts to rework and validate the Carl Jung concepts and theories. So amongst the different schools of thought, one was a mother and daughter from America, Myers and Briggs. So they actually validated according to the career opportunities in the middle of 20th century, and they actually identified about 16 types of personality traits, where the personality combinations can make them fit to a particular career. They're quite happy about it. And there is also a few of school of thoughts who's actually working on the Big Five concepts. So these are the important theories when personality is a dimension considered for the career mapping. Now, we also find many of them were starting to understand feeling happy at work environment is important. So a career interest as a concept was actually considered. So there was a famous psychologist by name, John Holland. He gave us a model of theory called Riyasek model theory, which identifies 6 types of interest factors in every individual. During today, I'll just give you a small caption of this, and also for interesting exercise followed about how you can internalize these concepts. I'm going to be coming about it, but before that, next slide, please. We also understood, apart from the personality and interest, the learning style matters most important because it is directly proportional to the performance standard of an individual. So they have to be constantly performing, and they perform once they know in the learning exercise what is their specific learning style. So we use these concepts from Neil Fleming, a famous psychologist. And we also do not give up the skill and ability, which is imperative. So we are actually applying 2 theories. One is based on David Battery's differential aptitude, which is very familiarly known as DBDA theory. Okay, this is the assessment which is used for testing their current level of skills and abilities whenever we do a career planning. As I mentioned, we start that career planning from 8, 9, and 10. So there'll be a different set of questions for a high school student, for a higher secondary student who has got different electives, and also for graduates and also working professionals. There are different solutions which can actually tell what is their current level of suitability to the career and what kind of skills and abilities they can actually acquire. Well, we also, as I mentioned before, from age group between 6 years to 12 years, we provide a career assistance or a career assessment to support where their multiple intelligence of skills and abilities are lying, which is connected with their bodily kinesthetics. So we'll be able to even discover for a student in 6 years to 12 years, what kind of ancillary skills they're good to actually develop. Because we all will agree with one point, and this is a stage where the child brain growth or the knowledge growth is very rapid. So at this time, where their bodily kinesthetic is actually tested, and we use the Harvard-Gardner's theory. So next slide, please. I know I am fast, right? I was actually trying to give you a quick overview about what we do. But when I'm coming to this point, I'll be literally steadfast. Okay, I'm actually, trying to bring in a learning effectiveness, making this opportunity this forum as an opportunity, and see how much you are all interested in career counseling. So you can test yourself also after this knowledge is acquired. So an interest of a person is always, tested to know what kind of happiness they derive by executing the job. In fact, it is directly proportional for a person to also acquire the skills and abilities associated to it. So we have always heard many people saying, I'm interested. I'd like to learn more about it. I want to learn and acquire skills and abilities about this particularly because I'm more enjoying doing this, right? So no wonder each one of you I can see a population of at least 400 plus. I am not surprised if your interest for becoming career counselor is not there, you're not going to be here, right? And you can always, discover what can actually, trigger you to become a career counselor, whether how much it is present in you. So there are 6 types of interest when we consider John Holland's model. The 6 types of career interest, each one of us, no one is exemption here. You, I, me, everyone will have all these, right? 6 types of interest in us. But always this interest is about prioritization. Now, based on the interest priorities, we need to check out what are our dominant interests and accordingly map a career option to our choice. So how do we do it? So basically, the 6 interest types includes realistic interest. R stands for realistic interest, I stands for investigative interest, A stands for artistic interest, S stands for social interest, E stands for enterprising interest, and C stands for conventional interest. Oh my God, do I possess so much of interest in me? Interesting, right? So how do we make a career choice based on this? No, it is important as we hold a particular interest in us, for example, realistic interest. What are the characteristics which I give importance in a work nature, right? So next slide, please. Let's begin with the realistic interest. People with realistic interest are called as doers. When I said interest is all about enjoyment to do something, what is actually making them to enjoy doing? What kind of doing? They enjoy doing hands-on practical activities. Now, these are physical tasks. While these are possible to be either indoor or outdoor. While in indoor, you can find they enjoy working with machines, tools, raw materials, or objects. I'm sure you're able to connect with careers related to engineering and technology, which can be a mechanical engineering or electrical or electronics, where you find that these are all connected with the production, manufacturing, or testing, correct? So where all in these careers, you find realistic interest is possible to be the primary interest itself. All right. And then these people, when they are actually, outdoors, which involves physical activity, we can directly connect careers related to sports. You must be agreeing with me if I say there is a high level physical task engaged in a sports person. It can be an athlete, an individual player, or it could be a team player who can be in football, hockey. All these people, where there is a physical activity involved, they are possible to have realistic interest as their dominant interest type. We can also include this in careers related to logistics and transportation. Okay, and we can also include careers related to public safety and security, particularly the border security force, the guards who are at our borders, right? They're always, irrespective of the climate, irrespective of the risk of their life, which can be, enabled by their enemies, our enemies. They are actually highly guarding us and they are always outdoors, Why they have chosen these profiles? Because they are interested in these kind of physical activities, right? So next slide, please. Okay, the next interest type is about investigative interest. People with investigative interest, what do they enjoy doing? They enjoy deep thinking. These people are called as thinkers, right? Now, these thinkers, what do? They research a lot. They enjoy researching. They enjoy analyzing. Why do they do this? They enjoy applying their highest level of intellect to solve problems. The careers which involve intellectual problem solving, don't be surprised, these people will have investigative interest amongst their dominant priorities. Okay, and then you can also find those who have investigative interest would like to also solve or apply intellectual problem solving. They use technology to solve the problems as well. And we also find that these people are often very highly skilled in science or maths related areas. So you can agree that these all involve deep thinking, researching, analyzing, right? And when I say a doctor, right, a doctor is actually, primarily having investigative interest highly dominant in them, because they are actually, made up themselves to analyze and solve a medical problem. Well, then if you can take an architect's primary interest is also investigative interest. And when we take, people who are into scientists, right? It can be a research and design or even a research and development. The primary interest of them is to investigate, derive a problem statement and give a suitable solution. In fact, when we say scientist, those who can be even a data scientist or can be even any kind of a product-oriented scientist. So we can find the software solution which is provided is actually through their intellectual problem solving. So wherever there are actually dominant work nature involved about intellectual problem solving, you can find investigative interest is dominant in an individual. They accordingly choose these actual profiles. Okay, so next slide, please. I'm sure you're trying to get some good amount of insight. Okay, so now the third type of interest is about artistic interest. Now, people with artistic interest are called as creators. Why are we calling them creators? Whenever we get a lot of new ideas, we are actually trying to make it different from the usual, correct? So those who provide all these artistic interest in their dominant priorities of interest, you can see that they provide a lot of variety of activities they are doing. They have a different picture. They actually, try to involve some kind of an aesthetics or an attractive element to whatever they do. And you find that these people are able to, in fact, visualize whatever they are imagining. People who are actually in the field of design field, once they get their design idea, they try to express the design idea before expressing, they would like to visualize. Wherever there is a different picture, wherever there is a visualization, and wherever there is a creativity, thinking something different from the usual. And they are not used with the routine thing, showing a huge amount of variety. And that is also considered to be more creative or innovative or inventive. You can find that artistic interest is actually quite dominant there. Yes, so you can connect with careers related to arts and language arts. You can connect fine arts, where a drawing painting person or even a person who is into fashion designing, web designing, UI UX web, web designing or multimedia animation game designing, interior designing, or even an architect. We can find all these profiles will have high level artistic interest also dominant in them, right? So you can find that the careers which connects with performing arts, which can be an actor, a dancer, a theater artist, or it could be a stand-up comedian. You might be wondering, how are they doing a lot of variety of things? Each time I'm finding something new in them. Okay, they flood with a lot of new ideas too, right? And a variable thinking as well. Now, and also you find these are also connected with any kind of a creative writing in the field of language arts. So wherever there is creativity, you find that the person who is involved and able to perform outstandingly, they have chosen those careers because artistic interest is very high in them. Next slide, please. Yes, the picture itself shows what it can be. People with social interest, these people are called as helpers. What do they enjoy doing? They enjoy helping others. How? They enjoy connecting with others and deal with their emotions. Now, these emotions is in order to help them, service them, provide support to them, be connected with them, which can actually be connected for entertaining them, or to even, in fact, what I would say is build relationship with them, and always, staying connected where there is always an empathy and a compassion involved, right? We can find that this is very high in careers related to psychologists, sociologists. These people connect with the welfare of the others. Psychologists deals with the mental welfare of the others, correct? But the nursing, they deal with the physical welfare of the others. So for nurses, people who are into the social welfare, be it an NGO, okay, can be a for-profit or for not-for-profit. The social interest is very high in them, can be even a human rights worker, can be a social welfare officer, a community health worker, which can be medical or non-medical. All these people, even including the field of education and training and public services. So these people, why have they chosen this career? Very impactful. They're very empathetic. They care for others. They would like to help and support others, guide others, motivate others. So this is actually dominant in them, right? So the next slide, please. Well, the next interest type is very interesting. This is actually, about enterprising interest. Enterprising interest is about persuading. See, we career counselors are actually, positive psychologists. Okay, we can call them as persuaders, but some of them feel that, if I say I'm persuading someone, it is like I'm forcing someone. Shall we also use a word called influencer? People with enterprising interest are called as, more influencers, right? Okay, now these influencers, they enjoy influencing others. Why? They would like to influence others for a business objective or a business gain, or for a leadership, or even for the risk taking. When I say leadership, which also involves situational problem solving. See, you can find that the work nature for different careers can involve problem solving in one or the other way. Now, whenever there is an intellectual problem solving, we find that people hold investigative interest dominant in them. Whenever there is a situational problem solving as a part of their leadership, we can observe that they are holding enterprising interest dominant in them. They also, are high-level risk takers. They are very open to experience, especially if you can take business management people in any higher level of entrepreneurship profile and leadership profile, or even entrepreneurs, or even people who are into politics, or people who are into lawyers. All these people always look out how we can influence others, correct? Right. Now,
hi Radha.
Yes.
I'm sorry I had to cut in between, but there are a couple of feedback coming in. See if we can regulate the pace a bit.
Sure.
Is that
okay?
Sure. Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so people with enterprising interest are called as influencers, and they enjoy influencing others for either a business objective or a business gain, or for a leadership, or even a risk taking. And wherever it involves situational problem solving, through their leadership, they are actually holding an influensive authority there. Right. So even you can find it is available in entrepreneurship profiles like business management. An organization has a higher leadership position like CEO, CXO, CFO, CTO. You can find that they are highly influential in order to bring in a gain to their business, or for their leadership, or for their risk taking on the business, correct, in the business. So we can also find this is high in political leaders, correct, politicians, and as well as in lawyers. We find that always are actually would like to lead the court or the situation of argument with a high level influencing approach, correct? Fine, good. Can I actually move to the next slide, please? Thank you. So now the next interest type is conventional interest. People with conventional interest are called as organizers. In fact, if you see, they enjoy working with a lot of data, facts, and figures. The data can be, structured or unstructured data. They like to work with, facts and figures. And also they work in a preference where there is a proper planning, organizing, and structuring involved. Okay, very orderly way of working, organizing, curating, collating, and working, bringing a structure or a system, and follow the system very carefully. They would like to actually follow a system which is available and do the routine work of things. Okay. And then, or otherwise, they would like to create actually a system and ensure that themselves and the other in the team are actually following it, which is actually an administrative and management profile, correct? There is always a protocol, there is always a standard operating procedure, which should be emphasized to be, followed. And this is actually high in careers related to accounting and finance, government service. We all agree government services is a system, right? And we find that librarian, all these people are actually after some kind of regulated method of working. So these are actually, people are called as organizers. And people have chosen these careers because their conventional interest is quite high in them. Okay, I'm sure I understand a feedback from everyone. I was little fast. I would request Abhishek to go to the first slide so that I can reiterate and do a quick recapping on what I covered from the primary interest. Yeah, so we'll go to the next slide. Yes, to reiterate again, people with realistic interest are called as doers. They enjoy doing hands-on practical activities, which involves lots of physical tasks. These physical tasks are possible to be either indoor or outdoor. While being in indoor, they enjoy working with machines, tools, raw materials, or objects. You can find these are actually very high in careers related to manufacturing, connected with engineering and technology, right? So these people involved in high level physical activities, even if you can see, they are also possible to be in outdoor as well, where there is a physical activity involved by outdoor traveling and moving around. So this is actually high in careers related to sports, and then which can be an athlete or a team player, or people who are into logistics and transportation. I can connect here merchant navy, or people who are into commercial pilot. They're all mostly outdoors. And when you find people who are into the public safety and security, particularly at an operation level, the border security force, all these people have realistic interest as their dominant interest in them, so that they are actually, much enjoying to do those job activities, right? So next slide, please. I hope the pace is okay. Fatima, can you actually confirm?
Thank you so much for that.
Thank you. So the investigative interest, which is the next type of interest, we call these people, they enjoy doing a deep thinking, called as thinkers. What do they enjoy? Why do they enjoy thinking? Through thinking, they actually are deeply researching. And after they research, they are analyzing. Okay. And when they deep think, research, analyzing, it is actually deriving a problem statement to apply their high level intellect and solve problems. In careers whichever connected with intellectual problem solving, you find that those people possess investigative interest as a dominant interest in them. We find these people also use technology to solve problems. And these are actually largely connected with science and maths related problem solving, where you connect a doctor, which is actually science related intellectual problem solving, solving the medical problem, or even an architect from the field of civil engineering, right, who are able to analyze how the building structure can be, right? And then when it comes for software engineers, which can be as a programmer, developer, ethical hacker, or even a data scientist, whoever are involved in any kind of science and research. This research can be a research design or a research and development. So in every case, we find that their highest level of intellect is applied. So these people possess careers, they have chosen these careers rather because their investigative interest is very high and dominant in them. Okay. The next slide, please. People with artistic interest. Now these people are called as creators. They enjoy with a high level new ideation and creativity. They're flooding with a lot of new ideas. Those creativities and new ideas are always different from the usual, which can actually reflect as a new design, or adding aesthetics to it, an aesthetic thinking which can attract others, which can actually allow a person to imagine in mind and also visualize how it can be, how the outcome can come. So this is all about the careers which includes by and large in arts and design related careers. So the arts can include design arts, which can include an interior designer, a fashion designer, or a web designer, or a multimedia animation game designer, graphical designer, and also people who are in the field of performing arts. It can be a dancer, it can be any instrumental player, musicians, and you can also see people in the language arts who are connected with the creativity. The creative writers, story writers, poem writers, all these people possess high-end artistic interest with them. These are all flooded with good amount of creativity. Next slide, please. Now, people with social interest, as I already briefed before, they would like to connect with others. They enjoy connecting with others in order to support them, help them, provide services to them, be very kind and caring about them and warm about them, which can connect with careers related to psychology, sociology, nursing, or even paramedical, or people who are belonging to education and training. You find that this social interest is very highly dominant in them. Okay, the next slide, please. Enterprising interest. So people with enterprising interest are called as persuaders. As I mentioned before, rather than calling persuading as positive, career counselor is always a positive psychologist, looks about what is the strength in a person, right? So we can actually call them as influencers. So when we call them as influencers, why would they like to influence? What is making them to influence others? They enjoy influencing others whenever there is a business objective or a business game, or whenever there is a leadership involved. We find that the situational problem solving is also a part of leadership, okay, which is high in any kind of business management profile. We also find that whenever there is a risk taking involved, starting a new venture, which involves a financial risk, or it could be a market risk, or it could be a mortality risk. Wherever, there is a high level risk involved, we find that, they hold an enterprising interest amongst their dominant interest priorities. Okay. And in fact, it includes a politician also as a charismatic leader, and lawyer also to lead the court with a level of their arguments, how they are actually able to win the case for their clients. Right. So we'll go to the next slide. So this is about the conventional interest. Here people actually enjoy, working with data, facts, and figures. While these data can be a structured or an unstructured data, they'll be able to plan and organize and work in a structured way. Okay, they would like to work with the facts and figures, and with which you can find these people are highly suitable for careers in the field of accounting and finance. An accountant, a chartered accountant, or even anybody who is a financial analyst or an investment analyst. All these people, you can find that conventional interest is quite dominant in them. And when you find careers related to government services, which follows a system through a plan of action, standard operating procedure, a system which is actually placed, right? We find that government services also include high-level dominant interest as conventional interest. People choose, particularly into civil administration, right? You can take an IAS officer, or even into administration and management, even in a work environment. Why these people have chosen this career and why they are into the high-level organizing is because of their conventional interest, which is dominant in their nature. So these are the 6 types of career interest which is possible to be under any priorities for any individual. But how do we do a career mapping? Because largely people always have a question that interest is bound to change, correct? Now, how can this interest change? Next slide, please. Now, what we do is, when we are doing a career mapping, we are not considering all the 6 types of interest to do the career mapping. We actually check their top 3 interest types alone. And we assign it from left to right here. You can find here the primary interest is conventional. Secondary interest is enterprising. And the tertiary interest is investigative. There is a good correlation between these kind of interest types being in the top 3 position. One can map a person who is actually working with data, facts, and figures. And this is also for a business environment. And also they are analyzing and solving problems. So this is actually more connected with an accountant. You find that accountants work with a lot of data, facts, and figures in a business environment. And they're more analytical and they create their trial balance or their summary of whatever are the debits and credits. So this particular interest priority is highly suitable for an accountant. Next slide, please. Now you can find a correlation between the interest types here. Enterprising interest as a primary interest, secondary interest is social and connecting with people. So enterprising is about business, leadership, and also risk taking. In a business environment, social is actually connecting with people and helping with people and building relationship. In a business environment, connecting with people who are actually, more organized and structured. Here we can connect a human resource professional to be more appropriate, suitable with this interest priorities in them. Next slide, please. Okay. I think the examples are actually good enough. You will have to understand, I'm sure, with my at least 2 attempts of explaining what are the interest type, you should have and hands-on knowledge about what is realistic interest, what is investigative, what is artistic, what is social, what is enterprising, and also what is conventional. Okay. Shall we have a small game around having a quiz to actually, rejuvenate what you have learned? In a short time, how much of knowledge have I been able to imbibe in you people? Next slide, please. Okay, I'd like to shift my screen to start with the polling just right away. Okay.
Shall I start with the first question?
Yes, you can actually start the first question. Okay, I'm starting the poll.
Yes.
Oh, you
The poll
started?
is up. Yes.
Okay. Is the poll screen visible? Yes. Hello?
Yes. Is the poll visible? It's showing here the poll is out.
Okay, I'll reset the poll. Okay, I'm starting the poll. I'm publishing. Please confirm if the poll is visible to all. Fatima, can you please confirm?
I'm seeing on the chat now, it says it is visible.
Okay,
There are people saying
that's
yes.
wonderful. Now, if you can see here, the first question is, find the most suitable career option for the interest type, realistic, investigative, and social. Right? The options here are culinary arts, business operations, physiotherapy, and psychology. Okay, so realistic interest is to do about physical activities, right? They can be using objects or even bodily movement. And then when you come for investigative interest, which involves intellectual problem solving, and social interest, which is connected with helping people or supporting people or being warm and caring about people, right? So you find a good correlation between these 3 interest type could be highly suitable for selective careers here, correct? And in that, one of them is being listed here. Will it be culinary arts, or will it be business operations, or will it be physiotherapy, or will it be psychology? Please check out which career involves huge amount of connecting with people, more than connecting with people, physical activity, more than physical, and after, more than social interest, also connecting with, so that is about intellectual problem solving, which can be connected with science or maths related scenarios. I think I will close the poll here. 27% of people have given the right answer. So this is a pilot, right? It's okay, no problem. So the right answer is physiotherapy. So you find that physiotherapists are actually largely, more interested in mobilizing the patients, right? They are also involved into a physical activity, which connects with the medical science in order to help a person who is unable to move, correct? So physiotherapy is actually about realistic, investigative, and social interest priorities, good for an individual to be chosen, right? Okay, now let me go to the next question. Okay. The next question can be about okay. So let me publish now. The question is about what is the suitable career for interest types which has investigative, artistic, and realistic interest amongst their interest priorities. Primarily, they would like to investigate, then they'd come out with analysis, and then apply a problem solution there, applying their high-level intellect, and also would like to be more creative, and also which includes physical activity. The options are marketing, architect, data science, fashion designing. Yeah, I'm able to see, good amount of people answering the right one. Yes, which involves intellectual problem solving, lot of new ideas, And also it includes physical activity. Great. In fact, it is a very good, response, right? Architecture is the right answer. In fact, 45% of people have given the right answer. Right? So you can find data science will be connected with holding, data, facts and figures. Conventional interest is highly important. And they don't hold anything physical activity there, correct? And in case of fashion designing, nothing much intellectual problem solving. Other than that, they would like to reach people, right? Impress people with the, with the design elements, correct? So social interest is highly required there. And when you find marketing, enterprising interest is more required because you have to influence others. There is a business objective, correct? Okay, let me go to the next. I hope it is interesting. Okay, let me go to another career. Okay, here is a career where the primary interest has turned up artistic interest. The secondary interest is influencing, enterprising. Tertiary is physical activity, right? Where they would like to, flood with a lot of new ideas creatively, and those new ideas are actually influencing others, which can also involve physical activity. The choices which are given here is to choose psychology, interior designing, or marketing, or entrepreneurship. Artistic, enterprising, and realistic. The options are fabulous. I think the team has actually settled. I was actually saying maximum number of people, giving the right answer. I'm able to see that. Fantastic. I'll have to actually, respect your knowledge levels. Within a short time, you're able to conceive so much of clarity. It's really amazing. So the right answer is, need more time? Can I publish the answer? It is interior designing. So we find that interior design always, makes us get influenced to how to beautify our environment, correct? So this beautification is always, influenced by the creative elements, correct? And which also involves in the modular activities, which is involved with the physical activity. So artistic, enterprising, and realistic is an absolute interest priority suitable for a candidate to choose interior designing, right? Nice. I think the team is actually, looking to gain more acceleration, looking for more questions. Yes or no? Are people looking for more such questions in the quiz? If yes, here we go. Okay, now it's a time for social, enterprising, and artistic interest. Can you find the career which can be suitable from the list? Here we go with the list. Social, would like to help others, who want to connect with others in order to help them deal with their emotions, be warm and caring about them, very empathetic and compassionate. How am I? It's really, mind-boggling to see, maximum number of people giving the right answer. No doubt, you people are perfectly fit to be here. After I actually publish my answer, you will know the reason why you're all here. I'll start to rediscover from yourself. Am I suitable to it? Yes. Career counseling. Social, which you connect with people, understand that they are going through some kind of a mental unhealth in related to choosing their career options. They're struggling, this career or that career, where should I study? And also you are actually having a high level influence of justifying them to why they should choose this career and also go about planning about this way. And in fact, they are possible to be futuristic as well, like giving a visualization of how their career can turn around down line 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line. Or at times we also find this applies a good amount of intellectual problem solving. How many of you are here? Are all these 65% of you who have answered career counselor? I strongly opine that you people should be career counselors, or you must be, going forward, look for becoming a career counselor. No doubt. Right? Okay. Let me go for one more option. Yes. Here is a career which includes enterprising interest as a primary interest, where there is a high level business activity for the gain you would like to influence, and then leadership involved, and which also connects with people. Investigative interest is about intellectual problem solving, can be connecting with technology and connecting with people, using technology and connecting with people for a business objective. The options include, to be recommended, lawyer, software engineer, education and training, and also human resource. The options are, there is an intellectual problem solving. They'd like to influence people with an objective, and also they are more, more with leadership. They would like to lead the situational problem solving, connecting with people. There is a public or connecting with others. And you find that they are also highly intellectual. They apply their highest level of intellectual. And social interest is also there. Rather than social interest, persuading others, this is more. Enterprising interest is more in them. They'd like to influence others. They would ask them to listen to them. Quite challenging question, right? Okay. But 21% of you people have actually given the right answer, which includes lawyer. See, if you take a software engineer, they are not influensive at all. But when you take education and training, the primary interest is social. They'd like to actually, enlighten people with literacy, right? Educational teachers who could be at a school level or at a collegiate level, we find those teachers and all are highly social. And then when it is coming around human resources, that is also in a business environment. But the primary interest is enterprising. Secondary interest will be social. Right? So, and third will be conventional. Here it is intellectual problem solving also connected with the situational problem solving. So it actually connects with lawyer as a profile. No worries. You can actually still make it up, right? Can I actually hold now, or should you require, do people require some more questions? Is it interesting to answer? So team, can you help me? Whether is there a demand, or we can just go to the next part of our presentation. Are the people who are actually looking for more questions? Fatima?
I think let's just, there's more and yes, and some more questions all coming in now.
Okay, fine, nice. So should I actually continue for a few more questions or no?
I think we should. Oh my God, there are a lot of yeses. Please continue, Radha.
Nice. In the interest of time, I think I'll run about another 2 questions. Okay? Right.
Sure.
Okay, I'm done with this. 1 minute. Okay. Okay. So now the question here is about the primary interest is conventional interest, working with data, facts and figures, working in an organized, structured way, planned way, people who are actually, highly following systems, and also they are actually more investigative and as well as enterprising, more analytical. You know what? I am able to see few careers, people are very clear and giving the maximum, people are giving the right answers. Very, very limited crowds are giving, the inappropriate. But I think a better orientation can help them and better molding can actually help them. But maximum, I think around 65% of the people have given right answers. What is the answer? Financial analyst. Undoubtedly. Financial analyst is actually, people who are into the equity market and investment areas, right? So where there is a high level of risk involved, correct? And these people, you can find that they work with the data which is structured or unstructured data. And they analyze and they try to be very hypothetical about the risk involved in that particular investment plan, correct? So a financial analyst is actually the appropriate answer for the interest priorities, conventional, investigative, and artistic. Okay, so 66% of the people have given right answer. Definitely, it is amazing. I'm actually, touched by the response. See, when for a teacher, when what they actually find is the true effectiveness when they are actually able to reflect. It is actually a pleasure. I'm actually finding myself at a great pleasure now. Thank you for each one of you being very responsive. And okay, the final one, right? So this is about a career interest priority with realistic interest as a primary interest, where there involves a physical activity. It could be connected with objects, materials, raw materials, tools. Okay, and these people are connected with intellectual problem solving too, which is the second in priority for them. And also artistic, which is about new ideas. So in an environment where there is a high level physical activity followed by intellectual problem solving and where there is a good amount of creativity, are you able to think over the careers which can be more suitable? Microbiology, psychology, automobile designing, medical science. What will I do if you people are going to give right answers? I don't think that you need me. So brilliant each of you are. Or people like me, not only me. And a little bit of grooming can actually enhance your knowledge level to a greater extent. I have a belief. Do you have a belief? Please do trust. So automobile designing is the right answer. In fact, 73% of the people have given the right answer. An amazing response, right? I totally did not expect. I thought I am going to surprise you. But you people are surprised with, most of you have surprised me with the right answers. Fabulous. Yes. So I think, shall we, in the interest of everybody's time, wind up with the quiz time now so that you have other areas also to be discussed with. So can we move the slide? Abhishek, can I actually request you to start replaying the slide, please?
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes. Why are we using multidimensional analysis or assessment? Because the biggest limitation left by the many school of thoughts with independent theories alone have been always leaving a thought that, will the interest change? Will the personality change? How do we actually manage in case if there is a change of interest? And that too, when we're doing a career planning for a child at a high school or a higher secondary level. How can we take a control? Yes, the direct answer is doing a unidimensional analysis. This is going to be, a suffer point. So the advantage of multidimensional analysis. So the career choices made by a student has to match their different ideal conditions. Is it okay if the interest alone is satisfied? Then what will the personality say? If the interest satisfies and also, the personality partially matches or mismatches, how do we take a decision? Or if the child is not having the required skill and ability but interested, because skill and ability is going to make them ultimately employable, correct? How do they acquire the skills and abilities? We find that if someone has got an interest, it is directly connected with the skill and ability. But to acquire that skill and ability, what if they have sufficient time or don't have a time? Or the level of preparation is very hard for them? Or if the budget doesn't match, there are different ideal conditions under which a career guidance recommendation has to be involved with. So we are actually highly recommending a multi-dimensional assessment, which is 5-dimensional assessment, as a first step, and a deep career analysis based on the multiple other dimensions, which can be an ideal choice for an individual. Even after 5 years, the student is going to take up a career. What is the probability that the interest or personality changes? How to take a control over it? Finding a correlation between the interest, personality, values, learning style, along with skills and abilities is highly important there. So basis that only, you can give them at least some 5 to 10 number of careers which are suitable from them from a macro list where there are 160 career paths. So to give an education roadmap where they are actually going to be, having their destiny, we have to guide them and support them with giving sufficient information on multidimensional analysis. So next slide, please. The core methodology in finding the finding the correlation between all the dimensions, we offer a certified career analyst training program. In about 20-25 minutes, if you people are able to acquire good amount of knowledge, imagine the knowledge when you go through a complete program and an optimized learning on this, which can make you, even you may not belonging to the career counseling industry. I have many people here also. I'm trusting that people are there from the career counseling industry who is able to deliver counseling because of your domain knowledge, domain rich knowledge. You are mentoring someone, right? If you would like to have a more structured knowledge about, all the career opportunities in the ecosystem, in order to influence a person to take up a career option, you have to actually influence them with the appropriate information. Career counseling industry is a knowledge industry, holding information not only how to provide counseling or having an empathy and providing counseling, it is also to have the career opportunities knowledge by and large. You must be completely familiarized with all the 20 career fields, 3,000 occupations, 12,000 profiles, and what can be their education roadmap. If we are going to give you all these services bundled in one program, will you be happy? Yes, we are offering that. Okay, so what do we offer and how do we offer? Next slide, please. Okay, we deliver a level 1 training in which, there are, multiple parts of learning. The part 1 training will include knowledge level about the psychometric applications. So the career counseling overview, the planning overview, I gave you about in the beginning of this session. That will be, given to you how it is practically done in an elaborative way, which involves asking relevant questions with relation to their career personality, career interest, career values, learning style. And in fact, when it comes for graduates and working professional, you also need to test their emotional quotient and emotional intelligence. Now, these 5 psychometric dimensions, based on the proven school of thought, the theories, the questions have been carefully abstracted and validated. Now, how these theories are actually applied in a career analysis? We are involved with a psychometric analysis, correct? Along with the skill and abilities also. Combining of all these dimensions, we deliver a 4-dimensional analysis model or a 5-dimensional analysis model. We call the 4-dimensional analysis model as a career cluster analysis or a 5-dimensional analysis model as a career path analysis. So therefore, you will get a complete knowledge about independently in a training delivered around 12 to 15 hours, right? And then next slide, please. As a part of the CCA certification program, we also provide you, after asking questions, after analyzing, there are recommendations. You need to be doing as how to do it, correct? You have understood the basics, the fundamentals, the concepts and theories are pretty clear to you. But we need some important practical learning, which are actually in the form of case studies. An exclusive 3-hour orientation will be given to you about how to read a report, understand a report, learn how to analyze the recommendations, and also interpret those recommendations to enable a student or a candidate to choose their own career choice. Now you can find that we'll have different assessment for different age group of people. So when you find career planning between 13 years to 16 years, who largely fall in the school education between their high school education between grade 8 to grade 10. In a higher secondary education, it can be between 17 years to 19 years, which is about in the 11 and 12 level. And then when it is coming for graduates, post-graduation freshers, these people fall into an age category between 20 to 24 years. After which we find that people largely go and take up any job and they are actually becoming working professionals who are possible to be in early career, mid-career or senior career. A well-planned early career helps them to continue for a longer stint. But without that, they sense that, they are some way, irrelevant to the workplace. And they'd like to know, or they would like to have a change in their career, which is not making them much happy. So you can also provide a solution for people in early, mid and senior career with an exclusive working professional assessment. So we'll be actually during the session discussing about these kind of sample reports. Using the sample reports, how can you provide your interpretation and counseling? Next slide, please. So all these are actually the learning takeaways of you people from a program called Certified Career Analyst. We call you people as Analyst because analysis is the key in this particular career field, right? So here, how the delivery structure works, how can be the course schedules. In fact, we'll be able to make a person start career counseling practice in 1 month's time. We have been proving that. And sometimes when people would like to take up career counseling as a passion, as an ancillary career along with their main career, they also take some more additional time to get the acquaintance on the subject matter. Where the certification program we offers, we find people are able to qualify themselves in a span between 1 month to 3 months time. Minimum 1 month and upper limit 3 months. Now, this is actually through a qualification process of applying for an examination, which is finally going to happen for certification. What happens before that? How do we train you people? So in the week 1, there will be about a complete 5 days training session, each day about 3 hours, which can be in batches. So we train people in the morning batch, where there can be a time between morning 10:30 to 1:30, afternoon 1:30. Or it can be in an afternoon session between 2:30 p.m. to 5:30, or it can be an evening batch. We have distributed batches where each batch can take up to 10 participants to bring in and learning effectiveness. Formerly, we were doing this face-to-face training actually till 2020 early. But after COVID, we understood the limitation and risk of meeting face-to-face. But you know what? The pandemic has turned out the situation completely. People wanted to learn more skills associated to this industry. So we have actually had a lot of demand, and we used to have online sessions. And the online interface used here is Zoom. Through the Zoom session, a collective 15 hours of training can give you a handsome knowledge in a scale of 10, somewhere between 6 to 7. But of course, to strengthen that acquired knowledge through the live training, a self-paced learning is also highly important. During the second and the third week, a huge amount of learning happens where your scaling is actually going up to 8, 9, or even 10. Where you're highly confident to take a final exam for certification, which involves the second and third week with a lot of mock practices. You will be actually assigned with 3 sample reports with which the analysis will be, guided. How to do your analysis yourself. And there will be at least 3 rounds of practice tests to give you a feeler how the final exam for certification would be. So in between, a good amount of review discussion, hand-holding, what are the areas which have skipped our attention, what is actually, more strong about a particular profile, all these will be, one-on-one given, which is an offline discussion, which might be directly connected with the candidate and also the trainer. So there is a personalized, session which will happen one-on-one after your level of reproduction, after your learning, right? So the next slide, please. Okay, I think I have to actually right time to close my presentation now. So ideally, making a decision is in your choice, correct? Now, but why you have to go for career counseling? I actually thank Fatima, and I would like to ask her to step in again and request her to actually speak about how this can be made effective for your own learning. Okay. Without any further ado, sorry for the delay. I'm supposed to have handed it over to you 10 minutes before. I'm sorry for the delay. Fatima, over to you. Thank you. Thank you, Azim. Thank you.
I think everything done on public demand is all okay, Radha.
Okay. Nice. Thank you.
So thank you. Thank you so much for being so patient, and thank you so much for giving the session so explicitly. We could see that there is so much that you wanted to share, so much that you wanted to give. But yes, we did have limited time, but we did our best, so that I can assure you. And I could see that from the responses and the questions, Radha. I am just waiting for us to come back for the Q&A in just a while. I'll pull you back in because there are some wonderful questions that have come in. So I'll see you in some time.
More excited to actually face it. But the wonderful thing is I can find a huge amount of people are still staying back, right? Yeah. So I think you are going to surprise them with a lot of information. So I request people, please stay back. There is something wonderful, a surprise, which actually Fatima would be disclosing in a short while. Thank you for actually, listening me.
Thank you, Radha. Thank you. I'll see you in some time.
Sure.
All right. Thank you so much, people. Though I promised you that the session will be informative and also insightful, but I think Radha took it a notch higher, and she made it interesting, and she made it dynamic, and she made it challenging. So that's Radha for you. All right. So thank you so much. I will be taking just some more time, and after that, we are actually very, very motivated to go back and bring up our Q&A, because that's where a lot of learning is still pending for you. So stay tuned, because in just about some time we will open up the session for live Q&A. So all your questions, my colleague Azim has been very patiently noting down all the questions, so that we make sure within a time frame we are not missing out on any question, and we assure that you go out with clarity of your question. All right, so thank you for that. Now, coming back to career counseling as a career. All right. So now we spoke about a lot of careers. Now let's talk about career counseling as a career. Okay. Now, a lot of you here, I'm sure, are either practicing already as a career counselor, or come from a psychology background but not doing career counseling, or maybe doing some other kind of counseling, or you could be someone who comes from a very different field right now. I saw a lot of things. I was, just observing the chat, and I could see a lot of people expressing their concern that I don't come from this field. I come from a management field, or let's say a training field or teaching field. Someone mentioned engineering. So there are a lot of you here who are professionals but are aspiring to become a career counselor. All right. So this segment goes out to all of you. All right. Now, career counseling as a career flourishes when there is a demand for career counseling. And that's true for any career, isn't it? Now, there is a small snippet that we're showing you here, which shows in live what are people searching for when they are searching for career counseling. Now you could see there is 100K to 1 million searches happening on the word career and career related services. All right. You see 10K to 100K searches happening for career counseling, career guidance, psychometric test. As Radha told you, psychometric test becomes a core tool for any professional career counselor. Then courses after 12th, courses after 10th. These are the searches that are people doing on Google when they want to look for a professional like a career counselor. Now, this is just 6 keywords that we have taken. There are more than 5,300 plus keywords that people are using to search for your services. Now, the question is, are you confident enough to, one, provide this service to them? And this confidence will, of course, come from your own comfort, your own independence on the domain knowledge that you have acquired for yourself, the credibility that you have been able to establish for yourself. Also, a lot of it will come from how are you accessible and visible in front of them. All right. They are searching for you, but are you in front of them? All right. So that's how online works. So in, like how Radha said, in pandemic, the demand for career counseling and the demand from professionals to become career counselors both ways increased multiple folds. So it was just the right time where the demand and supply kind of just met each other. So there are daily Google searches happening. We have seen an increase of multifolds in the last few years, barring pandemic as well. Even before pandemic, we have seen that every year the graph is only moving upwards. So all of you who understands how to use the Google keyword planner, please go there and see this for yourself. Now, there are more than approximately 5 lakh searches that are happening right now. And unfortunately, I have to say that we don't have enough formally trained and professionally certified career counselors who can provide a professional career counseling service. For a youth population like India, we have around 350 million youth students, and we need approximately 1.4 lakh career counselors to cater to kind of balance that ratio. But unfortunately, we don't even have more than 15,000 plus professional career counselors who can cater to this demand. And this demand is only going to see a rise thanks to NEP also, in the new education policy. Even that has kind of linked and made career counseling a mandatory core to the education system. So yes, let's move forward. Now, if you are wanting to enhance your credibility or you want to enhance your profile, your portfolio as a career counselor, then this is the kind of certificate that we provide. You will be able to see us as official organizational members of APCDM, of IAAP, which is US based, then ACCPH organization, an association which is UK based, and BCPA, which is an India based largest association for counseling psychologists. We are officially recognized and organizational members for these 4 reputed associations in the field of psychology. But when we release a certificate for our counselor, we ensure that the course is not just holding high value in terms of quality, but also high value in terms of its credibility. So this certification that we give out as a part of our CCA program is officially accredited and recognized by ACCPH UK. Now, this is a association that generally accredits courses for universities outside India. But as a private organization, we have been able to get our course accredited directly from ACCPH. And second is by BCPA. As I told you, it's India's only largest association for counseling psychologists. So the course gets accredited from these 2 associations and they get reflected on your certificate as well. I'll just show you a glimpse. Next slide, please. Now, these are some live certificates that you're seeing in front of you. When they started, they were also professionals just like you from varied fields, but now they are professionally certified and they're formally trained to be career counselors. And all of them that you're seeing here, they're also practicing as a career counselor. All right. Next slide, please. Now, this is just to sum up in terms of what all will be provided to you, including the bonuses if you are enrolling in 24 hours. So you get 1 to 3 months up to training, which will be live and real-time training conducted online over Zoom. You will be eligible for a dual accredited certification coming from India as well as UK. You will get complete access to practice career counseling using assignments, case studies, practice tests, along with hand holdings provided by Radha herself. All right. So your trainer for everyone who's been enrolling for the program through this webinar will be trained by Radha herself, who's the training head here at Edumilestones. Also, you will have exclusive access to our quarterly held knowledge webinars, which we do it for consistent upskilling and reskilling of all our career counselors who are already associated with Edumilestones. So we have close to 3,400 plus counselors that are trained across 24 countries, and they all get invited to this quarterly webinars. Also, you will get access to 23 plus psychometric assessments. You will be able to activate detailed 30 pages career report, which is how you will be able to completely do justice to your analyst profile, because these comprehensive reports will allow you to analyze it to the core. Then you will get 3 access codes to activate 3 career reports, which will have no time validity. Also, you will get access to an updated career library. You will have access to continuous learning material and collaterals for your upskilling purposes. So there is a lot available for you to continue your learning as a career counselor. Plus, we have an open access to forums and blogs where, of course, you can contribute and you can learn more as a career counselor. So yes, that's summing up for you, which is a limited time period offer at 9,999, including bonuses if you are enrolling within 24 hours. Next slide, please. Now, for those others who are thinking that, okay, what other options are available for me apart from training, then we have an Edupreneur program. So if you want to start your practice as a career counselor commercially, then we have the Edupreneur program for you. If you have an intention to not just start your practice, but also scale your practice, have your own network of career counselors, then we have the Enterprise program for you. And if you're looking at just the tools and technology solutions or the psychometric access from us, then we have the co-branded and white label platform also available for you. So this is just to give you a quick understanding or overview on what other options are available. It all depends on what is your objective right now. We have designed programs and options accordingly to suit that exact need, and it has been priced accordingly. All right. I'll just leave this open for another 15-20 seconds. So we have the Edupreneur program if you want to start your practice. We have the Enterprise program if you want to start your practice and also you want to have your own network of career counselors. Or if you just want the psychometric access and the other tools and resources that we give out to practicing career counselors, then you can take our co-branded or white label solutions as well. All right. Next slide, please. Okay. Now it's time for you to ask and for us to listen and answer. So we have a lot of questions that has already been lined up, and I'll start taking them up one by one. All right. Radha, can I have you back in, please?
Yes, Fatima.
Yes. All right. Okay. So we'll take questions that has first come on our Q&A segment. So because we had specifically requested, since we had specifically requested that, you know, if these question and answers come in a Q&A format, then it will be easy for us to recognize. All right. So we will take the first question. All right. Just give me a second. All right. We'll take the first question. Okay. There are a lot of actually common questions which I'll club for you, Radha. There is one question that has come in from a lot of people. They come from very, very different backgrounds, like, you know, computer science or teaching or Montessori or, you know, management or training. And they would like to understand that, are they eligible to become a career counselor?
Sure. See, practicing career counseling or learning about career counseling concepts, it is irrespective of the industry, right? So it is actually an applied field. So you can find that amongst the 20 career fields, 9 of them are mainstream career fields. To pursue their careers or one's career in those fields, they need a specific subject of study in their educational journey. But to become a career counselor, having done a graduation in psychology at an undergraduate or postgraduate level is definitely an added advantage. But these are actually the applied areas that is going to be discussed about the different careers and analyzed to make a career choice. So the particular profile doesn't demand a must in a degree in psychology or degree in any other field. Okay, people who don't belong to a non-technical area, who are actually highly technical. In fact, you know, we all know, right? We have had also people from bigger IT companies who have been in the director level position, civil administrative service people. All these people had, you know, providing career counseling or guiding people has been always their passion, close to their heart. So they'd like to know the applied concepts in this particular profile, and they come and get enrolled for different certification program. And the program what we offered also is to find out whether how much they are interested in the career. As we now tested about in the exercise about different careers, what can be their interest priorities. Having good amount of social interest in them and enterprising interest in them is definitely going to make them more successful. Because we have to actually start believing that somebody has got a passion over a career. If they are interested, acquiring skills and abilities are possible, and we can make their life simpler with our Okay.
Great. Thank you. All right. The second common question, which I'm kind of clubbing on behalf of everyone, is there any education or age limit for this program?
Actually, we expect people to counsel the next generation or to provide even come into a maturity of providing career guidance can be for any spectrum of people. There requires to be some amount of knowledge level, where this knowledge level can be acquired after certain years of experience, and a mentoring and coaching is possible. Okay, so we actually have set a minimum result criteria for a person to become a career counselor, at least between an experience of 3 years to 5 years. Okay. However, less than 3 years, if they hold, are they a graduate from psychology? Because they're able to absorb the concepts better and they know how to actually follow the etiquettes as a career counselor. Okay, and we don't offer this. The certification program is something what we offer to people who are from the graduates from the field of psychology, even after their undergraduation, doing their post-graduation studies. Okay, so the age limit can start from 21 or 22 years to start practicing career guidance, but bring in that kind of authority or that influencing nature in them to provide or handle different objection handlings. Okay, it requires good amount of knowledge level, right? And also experience or exposure. So we have set the result criteria, as I would like to reiterate. People who are doing a graduation in psychology at the post-graduation level. We do also provide this as a career advancement program. Okay. And secondly, those who are actually acquired with degree in any other stream, but they are much interested in, this particular career counseling, who are actually 3 years and above. They would have actually got exposure to a work environment and how the job distributions are actually handled. All those are actually going to be the learning areas through this training program, which becomes easy for them to actually conceive the concepts. And ultimately, talking to a candidate, could be a student or a graduate or a working professional, we should be able to provide them a solution which can make them an optimization of their career choice. So to acquire that knowledge, these are the basic level eligibility set. I hope I'm clear with my answer.
Absolutely. Now, there is also another common question which I'm kind of taking and clubbing it for everyone. That is, if they are into teaching or they are an education consultant already, then how will this program add more value to their existing profession or business?
Okay. First, I'll explain for teacher, then for educational consultants.
Yeah.
So teachers, particularly, as you will all agree with me, you're all closely associated with your direct target audience. Who are your best target audience? School students at a school level, or even faculties at a collegiate level. If you have a 10 minutes talk with every student, you can find that they are actually, bombarded with so much of information around them. And particularly the age group between 13, 14 years till they are 22 years, either they visit anyone or they get any visitors. The first question is, what's your plan? Why don't you take up this career? So that some kind of irrelevant or any kind of partial guidance is being given to them. There needs to be a perfect handholding. Where is their career destiny and why that destination has to be chosen? There should be a complete substantiation on it, justification on it, which is matching the emotional areas of the student and the ability of the student. So how can one guide, unless a person with a good amount of knowledge, how can they actually be able to tell them? So the students, if you see, they always, express that their aspirations, their aims, their goals to pursue their career in any field. The best receiver is the school teacher, correct? So school teacher can definitely make this actually as your additional career in order to guide people. You would be sometimes wondering, children might be coming to you for additional coaching classes. During that time, they can't stop themselves asking, right? So teachers can directly be yourself a solution provider for them. This can be at a collegiate level also. Now coming to the educational consultant. Now we see that there are a lot of education management organizations, educational, technology aided solution providers. All these people always look out, like, even there can be a coaching center, training on competitive exams connected with medical or any kind of all India entrance exams for engineering or civil services. So they all, take people and they are not able to show their results. Good amount of competency mapping can be done in case they would like to actually thrive, showing higher results so that they are actually taking higher, exactly appropriate people basis their interest and their emotional areas, and also the skill and ability possible to qualify. Okay, and then they can also set up, they are possible to have different centers. They would be working like a chain of operations in different localities, because we have students and graduates in distributed in different locations. To provide a solution to all those target audience in that segment, it is actually possible to set up their distribution network also. So they can also learn, they can also start up career counseling practices and see the response, deliver the best out of them, and also slowly get to know by the market that these people are actually one-stop solution. And thereby they are possible to even actually expand. So we collectively offer a solution to start up and also for scaling up. Okay.
Great. We have one more question. It's a very cute question, actually. What if someone does not qualify for the exam?
So that is actually a good question, but not to worry area. Because I'd like to give you two examples. One is the quiz time what we had. And in no situations, we found that people were able to give zero level of answers about a short time orientation on the concepts. A complete intensive training always vouchers an examination to be qualified with minimum 65%. That is the qualifying criteria. But to the best of my knowledge, I've never had in history anybody scoring less than 85%. Okay, that intense is the level of training, the level of the subject matter oriented to you, and the personalized, reviewing system, and also engaging into your assignment. People call rather as a roaster. And they also started calling me as a knowledge roaster. I'm not speaking about or boasting about how I deliver, but it is a personalized commitment what we actually engage as a company in ensuring people whoever are actually getting trained, they are able to excel out. Okay, that is being demonstrated rather than speaking. So you can actually always visit our Google pages and also have an overview about how the training journey for them has been actually uplifting them to independently start their career practice. Because I believe in one mission always. As a teacher, I would appear when a student like you wants to truly learn. I will appear immediately. And once I find that you have truly learned, I would disappear. Our model of training itself involves in making people independent and identifying how quickly, how objectively you are able to learn the subject matter. So that is a personalized assurance what we from the team collectively can give you.
Yeah, true. Okay, we have... Okay, so I'm just going to address this kind of question at my end for everyone who is asking questions related to our Edupreneur program or related to practice or related to psychometric tools. We'll kind of park those questions for our one-on-one interaction. I'll tell you why. Because right after the program, you will have someone from Team Edumilestones connecting with you in case there are any questions that were missed as a part of the webinar, or there were questions that were outside the theme of the webinar today, because we want to first address questions that comes related to the session that we conducted today and on the CCA program if there are any questions that people have. So we'll be addressing those on priority so that we remain intact to the focus that we have. But that is why we'll have someone from the team connecting with you probably within a couple of hours, and you will hear back from us on email as well as WhatsApp. So any questions that we could not address as a part of the session today, related to training or related to other programs, or it could be related to our psychometric assessments or our portal, or if someone wants to see our report, all of this will still, I assure you, will still be addressed even after the webinar. All right. Now, rather, there is one important question that has come in again from a couple of people. What kind of support is available after the training has been completed?
So as I mentioned before, there is a live training for first 1 week, during which the knowledge related to the concepts will be well, acquired. Now, digesting those concepts and actually, reproducing it is a real challenge. So from the second and the third week, lot of engagement activities will happen. In fact, lot of activities oriented learning, interactive learning will be a part of the training's flow. Now, the case studies will be assigned to each of them, and individually there will be a review system followed. We'll have a one-on-one interaction between the trainer and the trainee and orient them where they are likely to miss out in understanding the concepts. So which give them a clarity as how to approach scenarios, and which is also followed by a practice test. The practice test will be having mock questions which are similar to the final exam. In fact, this is the one review analysis done, one review given after the analysis is submitted as an assignment. the first review will be followed by a practice test, which can be helpful by me as a trainer to spot out and tell where is the person lagging in knowledge, whether it is on the knowledge related to the concepts and theories, or on the psychometric concepts, or it is anything connected with the career knowledge, the work nature, and also the career path awareness. So we'll be able to spot where the gap is and actually engage in improving the knowledge in that gap area. So holistically, they get a real hands-on, a personalized handing over or hand-holding in acquiring the knowledge to qualify the exam, which doesn't confine only with a scale of 65% only getting. It can exceed, 85, 90 or 95, which will be well experienced by them individually in the process. And after the training, for usually who have taken our Edupana model, we provide them at least 5 case studies as an hand-holding, your lifetime case studies. See, obviously, you people have chosen to become a career counselor and chosen this Edupana model to scale up. Like, you can actually go beyond geographies. When you have a online tech platform to actually engage your psychometric assessment in your own brand name, people come and take the assessment and you would have activated the report, and the report is ready for counseling. Now, in such time, there might be certain hidden areas or unclear areas which are not exposed to you. There is where you require a kind of an hand-holding. And we are actually, our strength is that, right? We provide a one-on-one personalized hand-holding to the candidate who is actually trained by us, but not sitting with them in live session. But before going to the live session, enough and more, we will be equipping them with hands-on information. How to approach the complete, the pre-counseling, during counseling, post-counseling episodes will be, very critically learned to them. And also they go with bundle of knowledge. So the hand-holding is the best support. 5 live counseling is actually already provided. Okay, live counseling cases where I will not be sitting with the candidate or the counselor with the counseling session during the counseling session, but I'll be behind the screen where I would have oriented you how to approach it. Secondly, every quarterly, our company conducts a knowledge webinar series. Number of knowledge webinars will be, conducted. So the person gets an opportunity when they are going live. There are a lot of validated knowledge. See, this is a profile like education and training. We have to keep validating ourselves. There are much new age careers which are coming. Okay. Now, how do you actually approach those new age careers? The validation of your knowledge is highly essential. So your active participation in such knowledge series webinars will also be, adding a value to it. Okay, so hand-holding has always been our strength, and also the career library what we provide, right? It includes whatever are the evolving new age careers, which is actually, drafted in a very simplified format. How to understand a career? What is the scope for career? Right? Maybe if you are providing a career counseling for a student who is in 8, 9, and 10, the parents' biggest plight is after 8 years, how would the demand for that career be? So you need to be validated with 360 degree of knowledge about the particular career industry. So all those are actually going to be oriented to you in the training, post-training, and it's a continued support we have been always rendering. Okay, I hope I've answered.
Absolutely. Thanks, Radha. That was quite extensive and elaborate. So I'll read out a few questions with names. In case you are present here, I will be answering those questions in brief with yes and no. Shraddha Rane, you have asked that, do we provide job opportunities also at the end of the course? So Shraddha, understand that the program that we are offering is to help someone get upskilled. All right. This is so that they can either be able to better contribute into the profile that they're already working right now, or it could be a first step for them before they get into the whole profession of career counseling at a commercial level. All right. We don't have people coming in for the program. 95 to 98% of them come with the program. They have an objective similar to this. But nonetheless, people who are working or are looking to change jobs, the certification, the knowledge certainly adds a lot of value to your own knowledge base and also adds a lot of value to your resume as well. We have seen live cases, live counselors who have been trained and certified are now working in schools and other institutes as career counselors. And this is something that they have managed at their own level. We are not a training institute with job placements. We are a company that is supporting career counselors. All right. But yes, the training and the certification has still helped them acquire jobs as at schools, at various other training institutes. And also it has helped people to move up in their career, because now they're able to contribute better to their profile. All right. I hope, Shraddha, I was able to answer that. For any questions related to our platform, to our psychometric assessments for commercial use, or for our Edupreneur program, I would request each and everyone to, hold on to those questions, because someone from our team will actually connect with you, and you still have those questions. And if you're still wanting to understand more about our other programs, we will 100% take that one-on-one with you. All right. Isha, the course is not available in Hindi, but it is certainly getting delivered in an English, which will be in like how it got delivered today. It will be in a similar fashion, and the language and the pace that we will be using. Of course, it will be 10 times more to what was delivered today. But yes, if you found the session today comfortable, then you will be able to attend the sessions afterwards as well. Abhishek, can we have the slide for training dates, because there are questions coming in for trainings dates as well. For a lot of them, it will be clear. So these are our exclusive webinar batches only. The reason why they're exclusive is because if we have to mix you with other regular batches, they will be paying 14,160, which is our original program fee, 12,000 plus GST, that is 14,160. But because as a part of the webinar, y'all are getting an exclusive discount on the fees. So these are 3 batches which Radha has been very generous enough to kind of open up, so that she is able to take these sessions personally herself for all of you who are intending to enroll. So we have batch 1, which is starting from the 31st of January, which is a morning batch. That's 10 to 1. Then we have a second batch on 31st itself, which will be 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. So anyone who's vouching for an evening batch, we have an evening option for you as well, apart from a morning option. And we have a batch 3 as well, which is on the 7th of February, which is from 2:30 to 5:30 p.m. And that's your afternoon batch. All right. There is one more point which I wanted to highlight. After your every live session that happens in the batch or the group training, the same day or the same night, you can expect the recording of that live session reaching out to you on email for your future reference and recording purpose. And you can, of course, always download it and keep it with you for your future reference. All right. So even that support is possible, that everything is not restricted to what happened live, but whatever happened live, you will always have a record of your own training for your future learning as well. All right. However, there is one more batch which Radha again has been very generous enough to kind of accommodate. We generally do not give out weekend batches on such occasions, but we have a weekend batch as well. So someone who is wanting to engage themselves, or who can engage themselves only on a Saturday afternoon, then we have one more option as well. We are not officially releasing that, but when someone from Team Edumilestones connects with you after the training, you can always check with them on the weekend batch option. Now, all of these 3 batches that you're seeing in front of you, there is a strict intake capacity of only 10 counselors in a batch. The training team ensures that we do not take the 11th participant, because that certainly starts declining the objective and the quality of the training, and we don't intend on doing that. So as soon as the batch hits 10, we close the batch by default. All right. In that case, you'll have to look for the next batch, but amongst the 3 options that are available here. All right. Plus, there is a weekend option as well, in case there are people who are interested towards joining on Saturdays. All right. So I think Ria and Geeta, I trust that answered your question as well. Absolutely, yes, Kavita. If you already own a counseling center and you are having parents asking you about career counseling, certainly this program is going to help you address that. Abrarul Haq, your question is the certificate accredited by any government authority? Unfortunately, we don't have any government authority except for RCI, which is again not applicable for counseling or for clinical or for career counseling. It's applied only for special education. Apart from that, there is no regulation as of now. That is why at our own personal end, we shortlisted 2 associations where we could be able to get our own course program, our own delivery structure framework that we are using to get accredited from them. And these associations certainly within the field are an high authority itself. So we've done that to kind of compensate. And your again another question was, Abrar, are these daily classes or weekly? Your first week are going to be daily classes Monday to Friday. All right. Hari, in case you're missing any live session, we do send recordings of the session the same night. So you need to go back to the recordings, connect with the trainer if you have any doubts, clarification, and then resume your training the next day with the rest of your batch so that you are on the same page with everyone. Sonika, no. Any of the knowledge webinars that we do for any of our partners, they are absolutely not charged at all. This is all support that we are providing at our end, and this is going to be a lifelong support to ensure that we are constantly putting in efforts to encourage, motivate, as well as upskill our counselors. Radha, can I have you back? There is one question which I think you can address.
Yes, Fatima.
A few questions combining here where they're wanting to understand the program, will it help for international studies counseling or placements as well?
See, actually, I'd like to have a clarity on the question once again. Is this actually they are looking for to do higher education outside India, or they're looking for job opportunities outside India? What kind of information is this really required?
So they're wanting to understand the course program, the syllabus. Will it also equip them to help students who are wanting to study abroad?
Yes, of course. The school education, we have separate assessments criteria, which is according to the Indian education system, which follows the Indian Board of Education, State Board, Central Board, and the ICSE boards. And also when it comes for international education, usually different countries use either Cambridge Board, which is referred as IGCSE, O-level or A-level education, O-level for high school and A-level for high secondary level. And if it is IB board, then it is IB MYP or IBDP. So according to that, the career, what people are going to take in a particular profile, the job responsibilities are going to be identical, right? But the education roadmap can differ between countries. If the education roadmap, particularly school education, is in India, and the higher level of education are going to be in India, the education roadmap can be different. That we can actually, help them how to frame the execution plan. But when it is coming for international education, definitely the roadmaps are different according to the education system in the independent countries. Okay, how to actually understand that? A knowledge quotient will be definitely attended as a part of a training.
Okay, great. I'll just add to this answer. In case you are looking at not just counseling students to help them identify what kind of career or course options they should be pursuing abroad, certainly you will be able to address that, because a lot of study abroad counselors are also certified career counselors with us, because this kind of goes hand in hand for them. However, in case you are wanting to start a service to become a study abroad counselor so that you can send students also abroad, then there is a separate program that we have called Certified Career Counselor for International Studies. So in that case, if that's your objective, then there is a separate program designed specifically for that objective. Now, there's one question which I'm time and again getting from a lot of people in different ways, and I'll address that once and for all for everyone. A lot of you are asking how many levels are there to this program. Now, I want you to understand that we have not created layers or levels where only if you reach the last level, that's the peak. It's not like that. Each and every level that we have, or each and every program that we have, is mapped and assigned to a certain objective that you may have for yourself. So it's very important for you to have first clarity on what objective do you have right now. What are you aiming and aspiring for? Are you aiming to upskill yourself, gain more knowledge, and be certified? Is your objective to get trained, get certified, and start a commercial practice as a career counselor? Is your objective to start a commercial practice as a career counselor, but also you want to have more network with more career counselors working in association with you? Or are you a career counselor already and you want the technology tools and other resource support from us, which other professional career counselors are already using from Edumilestones? These are all different objectives, all right? And they have not, it's not like that we have broken it into pieces. Of course, every objective will be able to, every program will be able to satisfy that objective. And you can always withdraw from there. There is no necessity or push that after your training has been completed, now you need to move next. No, if your objective is satisfied, you can always withdraw from after the training program has been completed. But if your objective has evolved after the training program, that yes, I want to now start my practice also, that is when the Edupreneur program comes into the picture. So if your objective is getting evolved, then the other programs are going to be helpful. Otherwise, you can always get yourself trained, get yourself certified, and withdraw from the training program also. Even that is an absolute okay option. All right. I trust that gave clarity to a lot of you, because that question has come in a lot in the whole course of the Q&A. Okay. A lot of questions actually on Edupreneur program. So don't worry. Someone from the team will certainly get in touch with you. Anyone who's looking for syllabus, even that you will get after the program. So don't worry on that. Another question that has come in, are we issuing any certificate for the course, certificate for the webinar if someone has attended today? No, there is no certificate which will be issued for everyone who attended the program, the webinar today. All right. It was purely for you to gain some knowledge, for you to gain some insight, and for you to gain some clarity. I think that in itself is a very heavy takeaway for a lot of you. And I hope we did justice to that. Okay, I'll just quickly browse through if there are any more questions. But I think I have been able to address a lot of them. Some I have specifically said that we'll be connecting one-on-one to address it a little deeper, because they require a little more attention. All right. So I think we can wind it up now, Radha. But firstly, I definitely want to thank each and every one of you who is still with us. More than 100 plus people are still staying back. So thank you so much for being a part of the webinar today, spending your precious time with us into learning something innovative, and into learning something. And I hope it was a new learning for you, and there were some takeaways for you as well. And we did justice to the time that you spent with us today. So a very, very big thank you to each and everyone. Also, a very big thank you goes out to you, Radha, as well. Thank you so much for being with us today. Your presence, your knowledge, your delivery in the webinar today certainly enhanced the entire learning quality for everyone. So thank you so much for that, Radha.
Thank you, Fatima. It was a pleasure, and your moderation and hosting the particular presentations in total is actually awesome. So credits to you, as well as with Abhishek and also Azim, who had been instrumental in making this a grand success. Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank
My
you.
next thanks goes out to Abhishek and Azim, who are not here with us on the camera, but they are definitely behind the camera, as active as Radha and I were throughout the session. So a big thank you to Abhishek and Azim as well. So yes, after the session, as I told you, within a couple of hours, everyone who were registering for the who registered for the webinar and still has more questions, don't worry. We assure you that we will connect with you very, very soon by today itself. And anything that you need to know, we will be available on WhatsApp. We'll be available on call tomorrow. And anything that you need us to address in detail, or if you have more questions related to the training that we did, we can certainly address them. So a great evening going forward to every one of you. Please be safe, and thank you once again for joining in. Thank you so much. Take care.